You're listening to The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
As to the council committee over the last several weeks. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. It's free all throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, let's do this. The Gary Harris Show for Wednesday, August 21, 2024 is on the air right here on the Big Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC. I'm your host, Gary Harris. I got my main man, Chase Brumfeld, right there on the other side of the glass. He's manning the controls and taking your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River hotline at 205-342-994. Reminder, Pinnacle Park at North River, beautiful gated townhome community near gorgeous Lake Tuscaloosa. You can find out more at pinnacleparknr.com. That's pinnacleparknr.com. And if you tell them you heard about it on the Gary Harris Show, they might even bump off a little bit on your lease. It is a see it to believe it type of neighborhood. And I'm proud to be associated with Pinnacle Park at North River Townhomes here on the Gary Harris Show. This hour of the Gary Harris Show brought to you as always by Alabama Credit Union. Member-owned and not-for-profit. It really is just a better way of banking. I encourage you to find out more at alabamacu.com. That's alabamacu.com. Alabama Credit Union. Loans for real life. Some rules and restrictions do apply. See if you're eligible for membership. Then join today and feel good about your money. And pull extra change in your pocket. All right, the lineup for today, and we are jam-packed. We've got a lot of good topics today. We'll continue our high school football previews. We'll have Matt Coulter on NASCAR at 9:30. Man, the NASCAR season has been hot. And, man, some great races. And we'll cover it all with Matt Coulter as we do every week at 9:30. Then at 10 o'clock, interesting conversation we're going to have today with Dr. Chandra Clark from the University of Alabama. She, along with Dr. Michael Bruce, have put together this great documentary on Gene Stallings that is set to debut here very, very soon. Do the Right Thing, the Stallings Standard. That's going to be debuting coming up next month at the Bama Theater. And I can't wait to watch it. And we're going to visit with Dr. Clark about this terrific documentary, not just on the 1992 National Championship season for Gene Stallings as he bridged the gap between Paul Bryant and Nick Saban, but also all of the work that he has done with people that are developmentally disabled and just amazing, amazing man. And this Do the Right Thing, Do Right, the Stallings Standard, is going to be a great, great documentary, and we are looking forward to visiting with Dr. Chandra Clark about that. Then at 10:30, as I said, our high school football previews will continue with the head coach of the Holy Spirit Saints, Bobby Snyder. Coach Snyder will be with us at 10:30 this morning. Also, if we have an opportunity to get to it, yesterday was Defensive Media Day for Alabama football. Defensive coordinator Kane Womack met with reporters, and Chase has got those clips ready to go if we can get to them, because I know they played yesterday on the Miller's Edge, and they played on Ryan Fowler's show, and they played this morning with Wimp and Barry and probably Martin Houston as well. So if we get a chance to get to some of them, we will. But our priority, of course, is going to be our guests and our phone calls and some headlines. And listen, Corey, you hold tight. We're going to get to you in just a moment. And we're going to get to another phone call coming in as well. Chase, I know you're busy over there, but go ahead and hit the headline music. I'm going to do some headlines this morning. Hadn't done headlines in a while, but we're going to do a few of them. Alabama's defense wanted to make a statement during Saturday's scrimmage. Well, statement made, message sent, however you want to phrase it, in a scrimmage that people are still talking about in regards to how physical it was. Word is the defense got the better of it, and that made defensive coordinator Kane Womack a happy camper. As I said, we may get to some of his comments a little bit later on. The teams practiced, the team practiced yesterday in full pads. They're back out this morning. During the media viewing period yesterday, the defense was inside and the offense was outside. But I'm sure they all came together at some point on the practice field. But Alabama, of course, the countdown to kickoff is on. There's no other way about it now. It's just 10 days away, Alabama and Western Kentucky. Standout running back Kylan A.K. Deere made his college decision on Tuesday. The 6', 200-pound standout from Quitman, Mississippi, who some rank as the nation's top running back, announced for the Alabama Crimson Tide on social media yesterday afternoon. As a junior last season, he rushed for 2,016 yards and 27 touchdowns. He's been a priority for Alabama football. He was originally committed to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss and Mississippi State will continue to recruit him heavily as he is an in-state player. But it all looks pretty good for Alabama right now. He's got a great relationship with Alabama running backs coach Robert Gillespie, as well as a close relationship with freshman running back Daniel Hill, who is from Meridian. Quitman's only about, 25 minutes south of Meridian. So he's good friends with Daniel Hill, and big pickup there. And one of the guys that's responsible for Alabama football's recruiting success is general manager Courtney Morgan, and he got that pay raise yesterday that had been reported, going from $500,000 to an average of $825,000 over the next 3 years. So nice bump in pay for Courtney Morgan, who's been on the job for 7 months. But that's the way it goes. You know, you get the job done and you're in demand, you're going to get paid. Alabama football 2024 permanent team captains announced prior to the season with the new coaching staff: Jalen Milroe, Tyler Booker, Deontay Lawson, and Malachi Moore. Those are 4 great leaders, 4 tremendous football players. Excited for them. And to be named a permanent team captain, it's a big deal. And have it done before the season so you'll represent your team all season long as the captains is pretty big deal. Braves, even with all the injuries, man, we talked about Austin Riley out again. He's gone out now, but they beat the Phillies last night 3-1. So Braves are only 6 games back of the Phils in the NL East. So even with all the adversity, they're right in this thing. You know, I mean, you can't count them out. So we'll see what happens there going forward. But I got to give the Braves credit. I've been kind of hard on them, but when you've been hit the way they've been hit by the injury bug, and you're still only 6 games back of a Phillies team that's had a great year, you deserve a little credit. We talked about Tua. We played his sound yesterday about Brian Flores, his former head coach, who he said just berated him every day and made him feel bad about himself. Well, Flores is now the defense coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. And in fact, Tua called him a terrible person. But Tua, Flores took the high road. I got to give him credit. I'm genuinely happy for the success that Tua has had, Flores said, and I really wish him nothing but the best. And he went on to say some really positive things about Tua Tagovailoa. But as far as Tua is concerned, the damage is already done. All right, it's 9:09, and I tell you what we're going to do, because Chase's phone lines are lighting up. And rather than start the calls now, let's go ahead and take our break, and then we'll come back. We got Corey, we got Mike.
Huddle is your insight into your local prep sports program and is brought to you by Venue Tuscaloosa, Arkley GMC, and Legend Energy Drinks.
As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special.
Price, save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A good supply of sunshine today with a high in the upper 80s, around 88. Tonight, fair with a low at 68. Tomorrow, partially sunny, a small chance of a shower, the high 89. And Friday, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to The Gary Harris Show.
Goal line in, touchdown, Alabama!
On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
9:13, welcome back into the Gary Harris Show, and the phone calls are lined up for us. We're going to get to Mike, then Cam, then Corey. So everybody hold tight. Mike's going to lead us off. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Gary, how are you doing?
Doing great, man.
Hey, did you get to play any golf at the beach?
You know, Mike, I could have, but I just chose not to be real honest with you. I had fun beaching it. I got to go out on a boat with some friends, and there were a lot of people because, you know, I'm present on social media that knew I was down there, that either lived there that know me or were down there from Tuscaloosa or Birmingham or know me through my sportscasting. And there was just a lot of people that were wanting to see me and visit. So I stayed busy without golf and probably, should have tried to play, but had a lot going on. Had a good time.
Okay. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about the NFL. What do you think of this new kickoff rule?
You know, it's hard for me to it's hard for me to really have a full opinion on it yet. I want to see it in a real NFL game, not just a preseason game. I want to see. To be honest with you, I don't know yet. I don't know. There's some things that I've seen about it that I like. I mean, I'm a traditionalist. I like that they've changed it up a little bit because the way it was going, all the guys were just kicking it through the end zone all the time anyway. So if they were going to keep it in the traditional role, I would have liked them seeing them back the kicker up so we can get more returns. So there's some things I think are exciting about it. It just looks so weird. But I'm gonna hold my opinion until I see a little more of it.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's funny. Well, it's funny because if you get a head start or if you jump before they catch it and they don't call it, it's not reviewable. And I thought that was kind of strange. You would think with everything in the NFL they review, that would be one of the main things. But
yeah, you would.
I wanted to ask you mentioned the other day about having someone that covers Carolina maybe on, and I would love to hear someone from Jacksonville. Mac Jones has just really looked good so far this preseason, and the best thing ever happened to him was getting out of New England.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that next year he's going to be back competing for a starting job somewhere. I really, really do.
Yeah, I mean, how Robert Kraft let Belichick bring in a former defensive coordinator as his OC, and then a former special teams coach as his quarterback.
Well, let me tell you how, Mike, because at that point, when you've won 6 Super Bowls, even the owner is not going to tell you how to do it. So that's why he's no longer there, because it got to the point where, they weren't seeing eye to eye, but, there was nobody going to tell Bill Belichick how to run his team, and that's Robert Kraft or anybody else. So that's how that happened. Bill Belichick said, "This is what I'm doing," and that was the end of the discussion. But I agree with you that the first Mac's rookie year, he played some outstanding football, went to the Pro Bowl, looked like he was going to have a long career. And what's his name that went to the Raiders? The offensive coordinator, help me out, Mike.
Oh crap! No, not Shannon. Oh dang it! I know you're talking about. Yeah, he was a great OC for Mac.
Yeah, he just wasn't a good head coach. That's
going to drive me crazy.
I figure for sure you.
Well, while we're thinking about it, I wanted to ask you. I bought a table
Josh
for
McDaniels. Josh McDaniels, but
Josh
go ahead.
McDaniels.
Yeah.
I bought a table for that pigskin kickoff for this coming Monday night, and I've got like 3 seats available. They don't have to pay for it. But I was going to see if some of the regular callers, Tom, some that live locally, if they'd want to go, I'll be happy to give you my cell. They can call me or text me if they would like to attend. But it'd be nice to meet some fellow callers.
Well, yeah, that'd be awesome. And that is a great event with John Hanna and Cedric Burns, the University Church of Christ Pigskin Kickoff coming up this Monday. Also, Ryan Fowler is going to be doing an interview with Nate Oates. So, yeah, that's a big, big event. I tell you what, Mike, we can do this either way. You can either give your number over the air or we can get you off the air and Chase can take it down if somebody wants to call. How do you want to do it?
No, I don't mind giving it over the air.
All right, give it over there. Listen, guys and ladies out there, if you want to attend this Church of Christ Pigskin Kickoff coming up Monday, University Church of Christ, huge event. Mike has got a table, and he would be more than willing to fill it out with people that are sports fans of Alabama that are listening to the show. So, Mike, go ahead and give out the information on how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, it's 205-516-3861.
Give it one more time. I want to write it down, too, in case somebody calls. 205-516.
3861.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
As of now, I've got 3, may have 4, but they can call or text me.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, great. That's a great opportunity, folks. Seriously, 205-516-3861. Mike's number. He's got some seats available at his table for that University Church of Christ Pigskin preview coming up. All right, let's get to Cam real quick, and we're holding Corey for the last call in the segment because I know Corey wants to talk for a while. Go ahead, Cam. Cam's usually short and sweet.
What's up, Gary? How you doing, buddy?
Doing
Mr.
great,
Panama Jack, Mr. Hawaiian Tropic, Mr. Fun in the Sun himself.
I was living the good life for 3 days, buddy. It made it hard to come back to work.
You on that boat with your friends and the Mr. Watermelon family, that was good. I'm glad you shared that, man. That always makes him smile. And you got to realize something, Gary. I know you know this, but you're a celebrity. You know that, right? And we're going to want to meet you and be in your presence. And in 10 years, when you're the governor of Alabama, you remember I told you that you are something special. We really appreciate it, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Cam, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. I'm slow. I got this Georgia education. Explain to me with small words, what's a GM do again for the college?
Well, it's a relatively new position and term for college football. It really is. I think to give you some insight into how it evolved to this, I believe that initially what we would think of a general manager probably would have been recruiting coordinator. That's kind of where this stemmed, an administrative position, an off-the-field position. In the past, college programs always had recruiting coordinators. Sometimes they were on-the-field coach. An on-the-field coach was your recruiting coordinator. But as it evolved, more times than not, the recruiting coordinator was off-the-field position. Now, what has happened is the GM is very similar, I think, now kind of the way it's lining up in the NFL, in that with the portal – a big part of your recruiting is not just high school recruiting, it's portal recruiting. And it's managing the portal. And it's keeping tabs. And it's having relationships with, obviously, with the high school coaches, but also with connections around the country that keep you advised on, it's scouting other college players, quite frankly, because,
So basically it's stuff that the coach don't have time to do.
That's right. And they want to keep a notebook on not just high school recruits, but, guys at the other, if you, in other words, if you need help in the off season, you're going to need help at outside linebacker. Well, I'm sure they've got a list of outside linebackers around the country at other programs, so that those guys go in the portal, they already have a book on them as to how good is this guy? In other words, not he's in the portal, let's find out about him. Well, this guy's in the portal, we already know about him. So the GM is doing a lot of administrative stuff in recruiting and in the portal and in relationships with high school coaches and also with parents, with parents and I guess I could just go ahead and say it, agents, because these players now are allowed to have agents. So, yeah, that's the role.
So he's the coach's agent, basically. Well, not really. He's not in the STOFA recruiting. He's on the other end with the transfers and the potential what the team is looking for.
Well, high school recruiting too. I mean, it's all of it. That's what I'm saying. But because it's so multifaceted now, the name general manager is a higher. I think initially maybe it was designed just to try to get somebody on your staff more money, but now it's kind of evolved into Courtney Morgan. Obviously, is a vital part of this staff, and that's why. University of Southern California came after him, and that's why Coach DeBoer immediately said, we need to give this guy a $325,000 raise.
Oh, yeah. He's the man. I'm glad we kept him for sure.
Yeah. All right,
Gary, let me run. Make room for the old man, and you take care of yourself, buddy. Roll Tide.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, let's now we'll get to my pal Corey over in Trussville. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
Doing well.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Bryce Young will have a better productive year this year? Because to me, last year was just a year where we just set up for him to have a bad year because he didn't have any help. He was in a bad division where the NFC South was. I mean, he was thrown to the wolves. I mean, I know he was going to start, but like I said, he had no help, no fan support because nobody came to the games, and I would hope this year he would have a better year. Now, I'm not saying that Carolina's going to win the division. I'm just saying I hope that statistically he has a better year.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. He's going to have a better year. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I now, listen, how good a year will he have? How good a year will that team have? They're still not very good. But, yeah, last year was a tough situation. He battled through it. He started every game for that team. He was durable. The new head coach there is a guy that is going to help him right away. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that the coaching staff is going to be Bryce Young friendly, and that's going to help. Even though Dave Canales is a young guy. In fact, I want to look up. He's 43 years old. He's already a head coach. And, of course, some of these guys are in their 30s now. But even though he's 43 years old, he's got a great reputation with quarterbacks. He did a great job with Baker Mayfield down in Tampa Bay. So, yeah, I think not only is Bryce Young going to have a better year statistically, I think he's going to have a better year, period. And you there, Corey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because, like I said, when they drafted Bryce Young, they got him in trade for their best wide receiver, and I'm sure they helped him out in the draft. So, and I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, but if they can pick up some nice wins, I'm sure they'll go a long way in building his confidence and helping him have a good year.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And I still think that Bryce Young is going to be a great quarterback in this league. I do. I tell you, it's funny you brought him up because I was just on Facebook last night and stuff pops up on your timeline and it was a Bryce Young highlight thread from 2022. His not his Heisman year, but his last year at Alabama. And some of the throws that he made under pressure, buying time, just phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely incredible. Some of the things that he was able to do, and I love Bryce Young as a player. I love him as a person, and I thought he handled himself last year very well in a tough situation. And I think it's going to get a lot better this year.
So, since we're 10 days away, who do you think wore number 10 the best in your opinion?
Who do I think? What now?
Who do you think wore number 10 the best since we're 10 days away from Alabama?
Oh, at Alabama? Well, Terry Davis, you go way back. The first Wishbone quarterback was a great number 10. That I recently, I'm just thinking of some number 10s. JoJo Earl, who transferred out, but he was a good number 10. There have been a lot of them. AJ, AJ McCarron obviously is an outstanding number 10. You got me thinking now. I'm trying to.
Reuben Foster.
Yeah, Reuben was, of course, he wore two different numbers, but yeah, as a number 10, he was great. So yeah, we've hit a few. I'm trying to think of some more. Stedman Shealy was a great number 10. I'm thinking quarterbacks mainly. Walter Lewis was a great number 10. Mac Jones, number 10. But, I'm glad you mentioned that we came up with a couple that aren't quarterbacks, but that's a few. So who wore it best? I don't. That's hard to say. I think all those guys did well.
Did it surprise you that Reuben Foster never really made it in the NFL?
Well, no, it doesn't because of what happened to him. Had he stayed healthy and had he not gotten in the off the field issues, he would have not only played in the NFL a long time, he'd have been a star. Reuben Foster was a heat-seeking missile. He was an incredible linebacker. He was so good, so athletic, so strong, so fast, so powerful. The fact that he's not in the NFL has nothing to do with his ability. It had to do with the fact that he got that toxic relationship that he was in, caused all kinds of problems for him. And, the 49ers had to let him go. And then when he signed with the Commanders, I think he was about to make a huge comeback with them, and he tore his knee up. And he's just not the same player. Now, he still has, USFL and the XFL and now the UFL. He's still playing. But had he stayed healthy and had he not gotten into those issues, he would have been a star right now for the San Francisco 49ers, probably an all-pro. Because his ability, shoot, man. I tell you, when he hit people, it was just a different kind of hit. I'm telling you right now. I'm just telling you right now. Yep.
Yeah, ask Leonard Fournette how he felt after that.
That's right. But when you have all the things happen, and some of it, it's his fault. But when you have all the things happen to him, even talent, even talent can't, undo it all. So.
Some of the biggest hits I've seen Alabama under Saban was when Speedy Noel got hit by Mack Wilson or
Deshaun Watson,
or Deshaun Watson helicoptered over in the field.
Yeah, that was Reuben, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Ruben was a heat-seeking missile, and Matt Wilson will lay a lick too. Listen, there were a lot of those guys. Reggie Ragland, those Alabama defenses from about 08 through about 17 or so. I mean, for about 9-10 years there, Alabama's defense had some beast, man. I mean, Landon Collins at safety would come up and knock your block off. I mean, they had them. Those defensive linemen.
Mark Barron
would hammer you, no doubt. So, hey, great phone call, Corey. I got to get to the break, but good to hear from you, my friend.
Well, I was going to say you can't do that anymore because of the targeting rule.
Yeah, that's true, too. The game's changed a lot with the rules. It's hard to, that's what's happened to Kareem Jackson in the NFL. He's been playing for, I think, 14 years, and he got signed with the Bills. His problem in the NFL is he hits people too hard. He just keeps getting fined and suspended. It's amazing. All right, thank you, Corey.
Based on you. Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions, both dining rooms, at the bar, and outside on the beautiful patio. Come by and say hello to Kim and Lisa, the Billy's Management Dream Team. Billy's, good food, good friends, and good time.
A national championship team covering a national championship team. The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:32, 28 minutes in front of the hour of 10 o'clock. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show, and it's time for Matt Coulter on NASCAR, and it just keeps getting better and better. Man, the storylines surrounding this season have been numerous, not just on the track, but off the track. And we had another eventful race at Michigan on, I want to say on Sunday, but actually it wrapped up on Monday. Good morning, Matt.
Weather everywhere. We've had our share of issues this year, haven't we? Yeah, but it was another great race. More controversy falls into it. And we got two left, Daytona and Darlington. What historic track could be better? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's dive right into Michigan because you had Larson and I had Logano, and unfortunately, Larson took himself out and several others, including Logano. So we didn't have an opportunity to get a winner there. What happened? He's one of those guys you just don't expect to make a mistake like that, but clearly he made a mistake.
Yeah, and he owned up to it. He just Goodyear's putting out different tires for all these races. Just Richmond, they had 3 different tires, some rain set and others. So he lost it. He said he lost the grip. He knew it. He hit the wall, and unfortunately, he took himself out, who I picked. But he also took out several other drivers. But that's the way it is. Have you noticed this year, Gary, that it's not the Ryan Preces that start these wrecks? It's some of the veterans.
Yeah, it has been, yeah.
It's kind of hard to figure out, but hey, who knows what's going to happen because Daytona's coming up.
Yeah, we're going to get to it, and we're going to finally get a Saturday night race, too, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, very excited.
Sidebar on Michigan, Corey LaJoie, this is not supposed to happen. They're not supposed to. The car's supposed to be able to stay on the ground now, but he got airborne and got on the roof. But a testament to how safe the cars are. He walked away from it, but what happened there with the aerodynamics? Usually those flaps keep them. They're not supposed to get airborne anymore, are they, Matt?
No, they're not. No, they're really not. But you see it occasionally. You'll see it, particularly at these super speedways, and. Michigan is a D-shaped oval and lengthy back straightaway. They're going 200 plus, and in the turns they're going like 188. So, you have the flaps, you have all these safety measures to keep the cars on the track, on the ground. that certainly didn't happen. It was scary, but I think you mentioned it. Good grief! They're in a little pod, and they have all these, the Haas devices and all their suits and how they're just protected. It's just still mind-boggling how a driver can go through a wreck like that and just literally they walk away. But no, you're right, Gary. They're not supposed to do that.
All right. As far as the race, started on Sunday. Weather got them. They come back on Monday. And one of the big storylines, of course, was Austin Dillon having won, the week before at Richmond and getting to keep the win, but not getting into the points, not getting into the playoff. Richard Childress Racing's had a tough year. But then late in the race, Kyle Busch was in contention, and it looked like, with all the stuff, like you said, with the tires and the pits and the fuel, that you just didn't know how it was going to play out. And for a while, it looked like Kyle Busch was going to have a shot there. But in the end, frustrating, even though he had a decent run, you beginning to wonder if he's going to win a race this year. And he's won a race. How many straight years is it, Matt? 18, something like that?
18. Yeah, 18 straight years. And it's got to be so frustrating for him and the team. I'm not picking him this week. I'll tell you that right now. It's just, is it driver, Gary? Is it team? Is it car? Is it manufacturer?
Here's what I think it is. It's funny you asked that, because usually I'm asking you the questions. But I'm going to tell you what I think it is. It's not a fit. It's just not a fit. I don't think, and this is just me on the outside kind of reading the tea leaves, I don't think that Kyle Busch likes driving for Richard Childress Racing, Matt. I really don't. But he needed a ride, and I think he'd rather still be with Gibbs or with one of these other teams, but he's with RCR. I don't think that he and Richard Childress see eye to eye, and it's kind of a forced fit. And then you've got Austin Dillon, who gets a win, but does it in, questionable fashion. I get a feeling there's a lot of stress on that team. I just don't think Kyle Busch is happy. Does that make any sense, Matt? That's just the vibe I get.
It makes perfect sense. And I remember talking about it a couple of years ago when he made the move. We were talking about the incident there where Childress said, "Hold my watch," because he was literally going to take a poke at Kyle Busch. It's strange little things that happen like that in NASCAR. You go, why? And I think you nailed it. But also, it's good. It's great as he has been in racing. And the Truck Series, Xfinity, and the Cup Series, he has over 200 total wins. That's pretty spectacular.
Phenomenal. Yeah, one of the all-time greats.
For him to go on this long, I think he's lost. Man, don't tell him I said that. I think he's lost a little edge, too. He's getting a little age. Is that a factor, too, Gary?
I think it is. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I do a golf segment and I do a NASCAR segment, which makes me kind of rare in sports radio in Alabama. But I'm seeing it some in golf too, where for a long time it was, well, golf you can play it well into your 40s and I still think occasionally you can. But the guys coming up are so good that now you look at a guy like Justin Thomas at 31 and you already wonder if his best years are behind him. And I think the same thing's happening in NASCAR, man. These guys are coming out, hungry, been driving since they were 8 or 9 years old and go-karts and everything else. And if you're one of the top guys, it's easy. I'll say easy, but just because you're a top guy and you look back and say, boy, 3 years ago, that guy was one of the best. 3 years later, he may not be one of the best, man. The pressure to stay at the top is hard. And when you get a little age on you, Matt, it gets more difficult. No doubt about it.
Well, and you bring up a great point about these young guys like Tyler Reddick. But these young guys are talented. But as opposed to the way it was 30 years ago, the young guys coming in then didn't have the equipment. But now Tyler Reddick raced for Michael Jordan, for goodness sake. And they're not lacking for anything in their cars, their engines, their in their research and development. So not only are they good, but they've got great cars. And, it's like if you get to be about 45 years old or even younger, a young kid that's a little bit more aggressive, that has skills, but he has a great team, he can beat you. And that's what's happening today.
Well, let's talk about Tyler Reddick, because he was the star of the show when it was all said and done, and he had another tough break. And I were texting or talking on the phone about this. I can't remember which, and I threw this out to you. I almost wonder if NASCAR is hoping, because of all the excitement with these late restarts. But here is Martin Truex Jr., who gets a little loose, gets into the wall. No debris on the track. He was able to get off the track, and I'm sitting there thinking, why in the heck did you throw a caution? But they did, and Tyler Reddick was faced with the same type deal that Austin Dillon was the week before, but Tyler Reddick got to victory lane after the late caution, and man, this kid has had a fantastic season. He was one of those that used to get under my skin a little bit, thinking, a little extra aggressive for no reason without the credentials, but he's a serious championship contender, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, he is, and I was looking at something online last night. This is his second win of the year, but this number jumped off the chart at me. He has 17 top 10s. 17.
Jeez, so he's been consistent all year, too.
All year long, and you know what? I don't think all year long. Certainly, I haven't picked him. I've got one win. How embarrassing. But it's 17 top 10. And then neither one of us have picked him all year. You may have picked him one time.
I think I picked him once. I know I did. And he didn't win the week that I picked him. But he's a heck of a little race. Yeah, he is. He is. And you're right, man. That team is they're doing some special stuff. You know, a guy who has dropped off a little bit this year, after all the noise he made last year, and of course that one of the greatest, of course they changed the rule because of it, one of the greatest moves we've ever seen in the history of stock car racing, Ross Chastain has not. Yeah. What's happened with him, Matt?
I don't know, and that's Trackhouse Racing, who had a lot of success the last couple of years, and as a team, they've kind of fallen off. But I saw an interview with him. Good grief, they were trying to interview everybody but Gary Harris and Matt Coulter during the rain delays in Michigan. But I saw an interview. He still seemed very upbeat, but not only has he not threatened victory lane, he may not make the chase. I think he's barely in right now. But not only are we not talking about him in victory lane, but I don't remember too many races where he's been a contender.
I don't either. Not like last year.
He spun out in that. By the way, that number one Busch Light Peach car, that was so ugly but pretty car.
You're right. It was eye catching. It was so awkward that it kind of caught your eye. You warmed up to it as you watched it.
Yeah, I did too. I still don't want to try it, but maybe someday.
Well, we move on now. I get my Saturday night race. We get the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona on Saturday night, and you get the first pick. First, though, give us. Of course, everybody's familiar with Daytona, you would think, but give us the lay of the land as far as that very famous track is concerned. It's still not as fast as Talladega, but it's close.
Well, and in fact, Talladega is pretty much almost a cookie cutter version of Daytona, except Talladega's got a little bit more banking. Daytona was built in 1957 at a whopping cost of $3 million. Man, that thing's gotten expensive. It's a 2.5-mile tri-oval, 31 degrees in the corners, 18 on the back straightaway, and 3 in the front. The first winner at Daytona was Bob Welborn. Now, there's a name you just
listen. I like to think I'm pretty good with even NASCAR history. I would not have pegged that one, Matt.
No, but
I would have probably said Fireball Roberts if you'd asked me just because he was famous, and I would have probably thrown him out.
Lee Petty won the first 500, the Daytona 500. Okay. But anyway, Bob Welborn.
So did Welborn win on the sand, or once they
No, this was on the actual
Okay,
track.
all right. So he was the first one to win at the track. Okay.
But, well, I think at Daytona, I think of, Greg Screws, our buddy.
Yeah.
Those many years we would go down to Daytona
y'all
and
went
stay the
down
whole
there.
week.
Mm-hmm.
We had no fun, but two of the races that we covered when we were down there that were the biggest long shots. Here's two winners. Remember Derek Cope won?
Oh, I do remember Derek Cope winning there. I remember Derek Cope winning there.
Our senior, he had a tire go literally in turn 3 of the last lap, and then how about Trevor Bain? You remember him?
I thought Trevor Bain would be a star, to be honest with you, and he just
I did too.
He came. Was that with the Wood Brothers? Was he driving for the Wood Brothers when he won?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer. All I remember is that he was from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And it was a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. But
let me ask you this. Obviously, this one's going to be at night, and used to be in July. It's a little bit. What is there? You have the Daytona 500, then you have the later race. It used to be the Firecracker 400. Now it's Coke Zero Sugar 400.
Right.
So it's it's less. It's 100 miles less. Because of the time of the year, February versus late in the summer, is the approach different? Is the track drive different? What's the difference in the two races, if any?
Well, distance, but like you didn't know that. But night, and late race, it's a must-win race for all these Cup drivers that don't have a victory here in 2024. I think you mentioned time of day has a lot to do with it. Kyle, I can remember going down there for the Firecracker in July 4th. It was excruciating. It was so hot. And now it's a lot different. Now it's a little bit later in the summer, but it's at night. By the way, I'm so jacked up that I know you are too, that it's a Saturday night race.
Oh, I am. I'm pumped for it.
It's, you don't have to choose between the beach and the race this weekend. You just go watch the race.
Mm-hmm.
But Daytona's a very, very special track, and obviously this is not the 500, but it's a spectacular venue. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and because of where it falls on the calendar, the next to last race before the playoffs, there's going to be a couple wrecks in this one. There's probably going to be one about, midway through, and then there's going to be one. I imagine we're going to have another late caution because those guys that are on the bubble are going to be driving for everything that they are worth. And plus it's Daytona, so it's going to be fun. All right, you get the first pick.
Oh, God. I was doing my little homework last night. I was looking back and forth. I'm so desperate for a win. I'm going to take the three-time winner. He's three-time winner at the Daytona 500. But he's the most experienced guy out there, so I'm going to take the 11. I'm going to take Denny Hamlin.
All right, you got Denny. I'm looking over some numbers here. I do think that Daytona, obviously the 500 has been a really wild card race, and we talked about some of the guys that won it. Even now, we talked about the legacy guys with Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric. They both won Daytona 500s. So, and with all that's on the line, I really want to pick a underdog, but I'm going to pick, I was talking to you about, even though they've got all three of their drivers in the playoffs. So you're saying, what are you talking about? Had a tough year, but Penske has really had one of those years where I'm sure Roger Penske is saying, we could have won 7 or 8 races as a team. And I think maybe they've won 3. I think Blaney's won 1 and Logano's won 1 and Cindric's won 1. Am I right there?
Yeah.
So
you are right.
I just keep seeing Logano's had one of those really tough luck years. I mean, he would have won last week. I think he had a car potentially that could have won at Michigan. And but then again, I think Blaney on this track is going to be a handful. So I'm going to pick Ryan Blaney.
That's a good pick, and here we are. Everybody's picked Chase Elliott.
I was just going to say, Chase Elliott, man. Chase Elliott's a guy that again, he's
William Byron won this thing back in the February.
Yeah, William Byron's good.
He is. You were talking about it a little while, just a minute ago. Some of these young drivers, it's great. They are so good. I got to get off the side here, Gary. I got to get a victory.
Well, you went with a guy who's going to be a handful. I think Hamlin's going to be a handful. I think Hamlin, because listen, he's driving for his legacy as far as he knows he's got just a few years left and he wants a championship. And it's amazing, but some of the guys that, Dale Jr. never won one. I mean, it's, sometimes it's just not meant to be, and not that this, he's in the playoff either way, but I think you made a good pick. And I like Ryan Blaney on these super speedways, man.
You can never count him out.
Yeah, but you mentioned a couple of guys. Elliott and Byron are probably going to be there too, particularly with, I'm picking a Ford, and you're picking a Toyota, and the Chevrolets have been really, really strong on these big tracks. So we'll see.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and it's a great way to spend your Saturday night because 7 days later, we got some college football. Actually, we got college football.
We got Georgia Tech and
Georgia Tech and Florida State.
Florida State playing over in Dublin on Saturday, and we've got some smaller tier games. So there's going to be a little football and racing on Saturday night.
Well, and I know the Tuscaloosa area, just like it is all across the state of Alabama, the high school football. High school starts 2 days. Friday night.
Do what now?
The high school football
starts tomorrow night.
Starts Friday.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow night. Yeah. We got a pretty decent schedule of Thursday night games.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about that sometime because I'd like to know who's really strong in the Tuscaloosa area. But I know we have Bush the TikTok ready to go. I always appreciate your time, Gary.
Yeah, enjoy it. You got you working on getting you a sponsor for your segment?
Yeah, we're going to, by the way, if you have a sponsor, call Gary Harris.
Yeah, Matt, we need a Matt Coulter sponsor for the NASCAR segments every week, man. And it's one of the few true NASCAR segments left on the radio. I know you can find them on the internet, and I know you can find them, specialty, but as far as just linear radio, there aren't many NASCAR segments, but we've got one. If you want to sponsor it, let us know.
And none like this. Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Matt.
Gary. Have a great day.
All right. 9:52. We'll take a break, and we'll come back and wrap up this first hour of the Gary Harris Show. We'll do it right after this.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of The Game, Aaron Torres. We'll talk with him. We're going to recap another Alabama practice. We'll have offense front and center starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. Now at PearlRiverResort.com.
Yeah, that's right where I need to be.
Don't miss Gary Allen.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and
schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A good supply of sunshine today with a high in the upper 80s, around 88. Tonight, fair with a low at 68. Tomorrow, partially sunny, a small chance of a shower, the high 89. And Friday, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Covering University of Alabama sports, as well as the national and local scene as well. The Gary Harris Show, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Winding down this first hour. Hey, a reminder, great time to join the YMCA. It's always a great time. It's even better right now. No joining fee through September the 30th. All you do is sign up. No sign-up fee. Just get joined and get going. Also, 10% off all new personal training packages that you purchase through September 30th, too. So if you need that little extra boost, a little bit of help, personal training at the YMCA can get you over the hump, and they'll do it at 10% off. That's either a solo package or a duo package. If you want to work out with your significant other or a friend, great time to check it out. The YMCA of Tuscaloosa, 2300 13th Street downtown. The Y is ready when you're ready for the Y. All right, it's going to wrap it up for hour number 1. It's been brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Hour number 2 is going to be right around the corner, and we're going to get it started with Dr. Chandra Clark from the University of Alabama on the new Gene Stallings documentary. And also our high school football previews continue at 10:30 with Bobby Snyder from Holy Spirit Catholic. Hour number 2 is on the way.
Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure...
Now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Kevin Wyatt.
In Major League Baseball last night, the American League East continues to seesaw as the Orioles reclaiming first place in the division by half a game after a 9-5 victory against the New York Mets, while the Yankees fall to the Guardians 9-5 as Cleveland scored 6 runs in the 12th inning. In the National League wild card, it's the Braves now 2.5 games up on New York with the Mets loss. The Braves beating the Phillies 3-1. And in a battle of wild card teams, the Padres over the Twins 7-5. The Dodgers still 3 games up on San Diego as they were able to win to keep that lead. A 3-run home run by Jason Hayward in the 8th, lifting the Dodgers 6-3 over the Mariners. And the Mariners, luckily for them, the Astros lost to the Red Sox 6-5, so Houston's still 5 games up on Seattle in the AL West.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Mannix made a $300 million FY25 budget request to the City Council Finance Committee yesterday, but he cautions the city will need to watch the slowdown in sales taxes and inflationary concerns closely. A immunity hearing is set for today in Tuscaloosa County Court for former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles on capital murder. He claims his actions in the death of 23-year-old Jamia Harris in January as self-defense. And 5 Tuscaloosans have been sentenced for use of Glock switches.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Gary Harris Show here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC. It is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. Gary Harris, Chase Brumfeld back with you for the second hour, and we're going to kick it off on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline with Dr. Chandra Clark from the University of Alabama, here to talk about a great documentary, Do Right, The Stalling Standard, an upcoming documentary about the 1992 National Championship head coach Gene Stallings, who bridged the championship gap between Paul Bryant and Nick Saban while building international awareness and opportunities for people with developmental disabilities in a football family encouraged to always do the right thing. The documentary is produced by University of Alabama professors Chandra Clark and Michael Bruce, a timeless story of how Stallings and his family have advocated for individuals with special needs of all ages. The event illustrates his family's legacy of championing a better life for all, and it is set to make its premiere Thursday night, September 26th at 7 p.m. at the Bama Theater in Tuscaloosa. A public ticket sale will begin August 26th. We'll talk more about that with Dr. Clark in a moment. Good morning, Dr. Clark. How are you?
Good morning. Roll Tide, Gary.
Absolutely. I know you had you have a great relationship with Coach Stallings and Ruth Ann, and you had one with John Mark, and this is a passion project for you and Dr. Bruce. Before we get to the actual documentary, how did it come about? How did you and Dr. Bruce decide to do this, and how did you get how did you get Coach Stallings involved and agree to be a part of this?
Yeah, well, it's actually a really good story because it started with one of his former players, and invited me to their players' reunion in 2016. And that player was named Christopher Stein, who was one of my former reporters.
Right.
When I was a producer. And he asked if I could have permission to be there and be a fly on the wall and bring cameras and see what I could get and just kind of document the players' reunion weekend. And it just kind of grew from there, honestly. I interviewed Coach Stallings that weekend and several of the players, and they're like, why are you going to stop? And I was like, I don't know. And I don't know how I would do this with Coach Stallings living in Paris, Texas, and just the prestige of it all and trying to stay in touch with everybody. And he said, we'll figure it out. And that's basically what we did.
So you've been on this project for a number of years.
Yeah, while that project started in 2016, we actually thought that we would do a documentary on the reunion. And we were working on that when Coach Stallings had some health problems, as many people know, along the way. And we met with him and Ruth Ann, and we asked them, we've got this going, but, what do we want to do? And Coach Stallings just encouraged me to keep going because he was still here and still present and continued to advocate for RISE schools and different programs. And he said, I still have a story to tell. And if you want to keep telling it. And he said, we'll figure it out. And, he gave me names of people that he felt I should talk to. And sometimes he would give me phone numbers, and sometimes he'd say, you'll figure it out. And in his true Gene Stallings voice, he is a true teacher.
Yeah.
And he taught me many lessons along the way about relationships and developing them and talking to people to get them to share their story, because he's a very modest man. He didn't want to tell his whole story. He wanted other people to share it.
Well, a big part of this, obviously, is his football success. 7 seasons as head coach at Alabama. He won 70 games in 7 seasons when they played only 11 regular season games and didn't start a SEC championship game until 92. So it's a high level of winning the national championship with SEC championship and perfect season in 92. So there's obviously football involved here, but a big part of this is going to be obviously his spirit and his commitment to helping those that, had some disadvantages, whether it was John Mark, his son, or many, many others through RISE. How big a part of this story ties into those individuals with special needs?
It was critical. I mean, that was the hardest part to convincing a lot of people that it's not just a football story, because that is not who Coach Stallings is. It's also not what he wants to be known for. And he didn't start RISE schools. There were many people who started them, but a lot of people believe that he did. And he wanted the true story told about all these people who have been so supportive and all the challenges that all these parents have had in what they do with their children who have varying abilities. And the thing about that is he was an advocate. He was a pusher, and he wanted people to know what they could do and how they could contribute to helping not just the families, but the individuals be recognized for the abilities that they do have and what they can do to contribute to society. And that was so important to Michael and I to make sure that that was a crucial part of the story and that he was not just known for his football wins. His legacy that his players tell about him through all their stories is about his leadership, his parenting abilities, and the example that he led for so many on so many levels.
Dr. Clark, how long is the documentary?
So it's hard, but we got it down to an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then we have a lot of sidebar features too that we'll be rolling out on the website and on social media because we just couldn't fit it all in an hour and a half.
You mentioned Christopher Sign, one of his former players who obviously became a very successful broadcast journalist, and you said kind of helped spearhead this through the, getting you involved in the reunion. Of course, he passed away. I'm sure as your former student and someone helped you with this, that has been a very tough thing for you to go through. Is there any mention of his helping get this underway in the documentary?
Yes, I want people to know that Christopher was a big encouragement to me. When he first mentioned this idea to me, he said, I think you're the right person, and I think you're in the right place to be able to make this happen and to share Coach Stallings' story. He knew I had volunteered at Rise through college. He knew that I loved good stories. He knew how we had worked together and how I worked and how I loved to build relationships with people and valued them like Coach Stallings did. And he is mentioned in my bio. I've talked with, his wife about how important this was to me, that he gets credit for helping me start this. And that's so important to me that people just understand that it originated from a player who also wanted that story told, because he means that much to his players. Right,
no doubt. And the thing too, I having gotten to know Coach Stallings a little bit, and I remember him telling the story about when he got the news of John Mark, his first son, his only son. He was shocked when he heard the news about him being special needs and developmentally disabled, and stunned. But I guess you watch what he did here in Tuscaloosa and what he's done all over. He lived it. He lived, and he from a moment of being stunned to having a bond with his son, probably unlike few fathers have had with their sons. He saw exactly what someone in John Mark's, situation can do, not only for others, but for their family, but for others. And that, to just widen the horizons for people who maybe see someone with a disadvantage in their life and don't see all the positives that they bring. And I think that's probably going to be a big part of this story, is how many people John Mark touched, including his own parents.
That is very true. And, it's also those people are included in it. And we have so many that have examples of those letters that Coach Stallings wrote to them, and how he took the time to call parents to help them realize the gift that God had given to them. And that is what he told them. And they've shared those letters with us. They've showed us those pictures and conversations with us. And it's something that they never forget. One of the reasons we added a section about Do Right Stories on our website is because everywhere we went, someone had a story about Coach Stallings and the family and the legacy of what he's also done with his family, because they also are all involved in different things that represent children with varying abilities from birth to adults, and even in other countries. And so there is such a legacy there that family has planted, and we're just very honored that they gave us that opportunity to share the story of this legacy family, because they had to agree to open their scrapbooks to us and their hearts to us.
Dr. Shauna Clark with us, her and Dr. Michael Bruce producing this great documentary on Gene Stallings. Coach Stallings, you've been with him recently, and you were out in Texas, and of course when he was at North River, and he still has that booming voice, and he's still bigger than life, but he is 89 years old. And how important was it to get this project finished and have it premiere and make sure that Coach Stallings is still alive to see it?
Oh, it was so important to us, and we are just so thankful that they have watched it, they've approved it, they've given us their endorsement for it, and so has their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
That was very important to us as well because it represents their entire family. And so, yes, at 89 years old, he still is teaching me, but he has trusted Michael and I to do this, and they've also trusted us with their mission of what to do with it, and that's very important to us as well, to use it to make people aware of how everybody can make a difference by always trying to do the right thing, by respecting individuals of all abilities. And you'll hear me say that a lot, but it's really important to him that is what we tell people about why he did this and why he agreed, because he's a very modest person. And to be able to share his story is something I think that was kind of hard for him in a lot of different ways, even at his age, because it's still a very emotional thing for him of what he went through in losing his son, just like it would be for any parent.
Yeah, no doubt. From a football standpoint, I think he was 55 years old when he got this job, and he had been a head coach in the NFL. He'd been a head coach at Texas A&M. He'd been a longtime assistant with the Dallas Cowboys, but he was not viewed as there were a lot of people that raised an eyebrow when Gene Stallings got the job at Alabama, and he had a losing record. And from a football standpoint, too, 7 years, as I said, 70 wins, a national championship, an SEC title, really in the hunt very much every year for SEC championship. And, until Coach Saban got here, his 7-year tenure was the longest of any coach since Coach Bryant. Perkins was here 4, Curry 3, DeBose 4, Franchione 2, Mike Price a spring, Mike Shula 4 years. So he was the guy up until, Coach Saban put together the amazing record that he did. He was the championship coach at Alabama. Did you get into that with him at all? How important those 7 years were from a football standpoint and what he was able to do here at Alabama and come back to coach at a school where, he played for Coach Bryant at A&M and had coached at Alabama, what that meant for him as a football coach?
Oh, yes. It meant everything to him. He loves Alabama. And when he thought he was going to possibly get out of football until he got that call.
Right.
From President Roger Sayers at that time, who called him and wanted to make sure that they were interested in him. He really thought his career may be over. And then to get the call to come to Alabama and have the chance to do what his mentor had done, it meant everything to him. And he was so proud to be able to share that with his family and with his son, John Mark, who was at the age he was at that time, for people to embrace his son and make him a part of the program. It meant everything to him, and that's why they still love Alabama. Alabama is so special to that family. And, I think this is their second home while they reside in Paris, Texas. It is different for them there than it is here. When they come here, they are celebrities.
That's right. That's right. And John, like you said, John Mark got to live it, experience it, be a big part of it, be a celebrity in his own right. And yeah, it was a special time, no doubt about it. All right, Dr. Clark, as we wrap it up, give us again the where, when, and how.
Sure. Yes. We're so excited that the premiere is going to be here in Tuscaloosa at the Bama Theater on September 26th. We will have a little photo opportunities and different things starting around 6 o'clock when the doors open. And then we'll have a little talk beforehand, and then the movie will start at 7 o'clock, and we'll have a little Q&A afterwards. Tickets will be on sale for the public starting August 26th at TuscaloosaArts.org. It's actually TuscArts.org. Or you can go to our website at DRightStallings.com, and you can get there to the ticket box office from there.
Can't wait. Thank you, Dr. Clark.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll Tide.
All right. It's 10:17 here on the Gary Harris Show, and we're going to get that timeout. Thank Dr. Clark, for coming on, man. Can't wait for this Do Right, the Stalling Standard. It is going to be a special documentary, no doubt about that. Something else that's special is an opportunity to play some golf at Tall Pines Golf Club here in East Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa's hidden gem is what I like to call it. Brand new greens that have come in nicely over the summer, and it's a place that is beautiful in a gorgeous neighborhood, and it is it's open to the public. And they also, you can still become a member as well, but if you just want to go play a round of golf and try it out, you can book a tee time at 205-556-1232. That's 205-556-1232. Tall Pines Golf Course, a hidden gem in Tuscaloosa over there in the Woodland Forest neighborhood. We'll be back. We're wide open for phone calls in the next.
Or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A good supply of sunshine today with a high in the upper 80s, around 88. Tonight, fair with the low at 68. Tomorrow, partially sunny, a small chance of a shower, the high 89. And Friday, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Roll Tide. The best sports talk, period. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
On the Gary Harris Show, and high school football begins tomorrow night. Our high school previews continue at 10:30 with Bobby Snyder, head coach of the Holy Spirit Saints. A reminder, too, that Tide 100.9 FM is going to have great high school coverage all fall for you. Wyatt Fulton sent me the lineup yesterday. On Tuesday nights, it's the Hillcrest Huddle from 6 until 7 p.m. On Thursday night, the high school pigskin preview hosted by Martin Houston from 7 to 8 p.m. That's followed by the Venue high school football preview from 8 to 8:30. Then on Friday night, the high school scoreboard show that Wyatt will host right now, tentatively scheduled for 9:30 to 10:30. They may tweak that a little bit, but we're definitely going to have the high school scoreboard show that is very popular here on Tide 100.9 FM on Friday nights during the high school season. And, of course, in addition to my show here on Tide, 9 to 11 a.m., every day where I talk a ton of high school football, I'll be hosting again for, 20-something years now, Football Friday on WVUA 23, 1 hour high school football highlights show Friday nights beginning this Friday night from 10:30 to 11:30 on WVUA 23. So, again, love talking Bama, love talking all college football and college sports and professional sports, but high school sports is a big part of what we do here at Tide. When you're a local radio station, and high school football season is special, and it gets underway tomorrow night. I keep stressing that because Week 0 is a lot of people think Friday night, but there's some good games tomorrow night, and we'll track those down for you tomorrow as we get ready for high school football. But Bobby Snyder coming up at 10:30 this morning with the latest on the Holy Spirit Saints. All right, here's something interesting that I found because I like this guy. I don't know him personally, but I like him. I've just always enjoyed watching Pete Carroll coach, whether it was in the NFL, the first time as head coach of New England Patriots, or later, of course, with the Seattle Seahawks, where, he won a Super Bowl, or obviously the great teams they had at USC. Pete Carroll is one of those guys that's got juice, man. I mean, I want to say he's 73 years old. I might be wrong on that. He might be 72, but he's up there. He and Coach Saban are close in age, and he doesn't look his age. First of all, I mean, you see video of him still, you would think he's probably 60. And he loves to coach, and he loves to teach. And, yeah, I know that the USC time was, cloud put on that because of the, NCAA and some of the rules that were broken. But he's a great football coach, and he loves teaching to the point that he is going to return to USC this spring and teach a class. Pete Carroll is going to teach a class at USC, not coach football. He made that announcement on Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM on Tuesday that he'll start teaching a class at USC in the spring, though he didn't offer any specifics about the class. This is a guy who, it wasn't up to him. He'd still be coaching the Seahawks. You know, Seattle decided to go in a different direction. But he wants to still be an instructor. And if he can't coach football, I just think that's so neat. That shows you that he has a love for teaching, a love for young people. And there are a lot of people that, and I just saw it, looked it up, he's 72. There's a lot of people that are 72 years old that would just say, man, I made a lot of money. I'm gonna just live the good life. But he's going to go back to USC and teach a class in the spring. I think that is a really cool thing and a testament to the type of individual that he is and the type of person that he is. As far as Nick Saban, also 72. He, as we know, is going to be on the College Game Day set this year. Can't wait to see him every week. And he'll be flying over to Dublin, Ireland as the season kicks off in this week 0 with that game between Florida State and Georgia Tech, which is going to be a really good game. I'm pumped to see Coach Saban week to week. The work that he did on the draft and the work that he has done when he has been a guest analyst on ESPN gives us every indication that he is going to be as thorough and as prepared on the television set as he was as a head football coach. He is already, and he hasn't even started his full-time job, I think, going to be in the running for best analyst in the game. And that's how good he is. That's how thorough he is. When you listen to Nick Saban break something down and explain it, you understand it from a different perspective than a lot of these analysts. A lot of these analysts, if they try to get too technical, they go right over your head. Coach Saban can explain to you intricacies of the college game in a way that you can understand it, in a way that makes it relatable. So it's going to be an exciting college football season watching Nick Saban every week on ESPN. All right, that's going to do it for this segment. When we come back, our high school football previews continue. Holy Spirit Saints, you know, they dropped football for a while, brought it back, and Bobby Snyder is the head coach, and he'll give us the rundown on their season.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And, of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour.
And Rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You see him on WVUA 23 covering sports and on Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights. Don't miss a minute of the Gary Harris Show. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on Tide 100.9.
All right, 10:31. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show, and it's time to continue our high school football previews now with the Holy Spirit Saints and the head coach, Bobby Snyder, joining us to talk some Saints football. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Gary?
Doing great, man. Listen, I was so disappointed when Holy Spirit dropped football following the 2018 season, and then so excited when they brought it back, and you were tasked with bringing it back. This is your third year now, and when you look at your football team, obviously when you bring a program back, there's some growing pains. But your third year now, you're in Class 1A, Region 3. What's your outlook? Is this a year where you can take a step and win a few more football games?
I believe so. We've got a good group of core guys that's been with the program for a while now. You know, like you said, there's some growing pains involved, and you know, these couple of seniors and juniors that we have coming through, they've been in the program for 3 or 4 years. So you know, there's a certain level of maturity as far as skill and knowledge goes that you know we've kind of just missed on in the last couple of years. You know, and it's unfortunate because I've had some good kids come through the program and graduate that were just a part of the growing pains. And, you know, those are the ones you look back on and say, those guys had to make a sacrifice. You know, they took the losses and took the hard times so that we could keep building. So, you know, I think this is the year that we step out and, you know, take a huge step forward.
Like I said, being a sportscaster here for over 20 years, I just was so disappointed when the only Catholic high school in Tuscaloosa with a great sports tradition dropped football, and excited when you brought it back. I sense, though, Coach, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I sense, though, that because it was gone for a few years, the commitment from the administration, from the student body, from the parents of the students is greater now because of the fact that it went away for a while. Am I right there?
Well, I think growing up and, you know, coming, you know, from the South and growing up here, you know, I think I understand and a lot of the parents and the administration and the players involved, you know, their families, they understand the importance of football in the South. So I think that, you know, obviously that was something that they realized that was lacking. You know, and nothing brings together a high school in the South like, you know, a Friday night football game. And, you know, that just wasn't there. I think it's a big deal in any school. I think it's a big deal in developing young men. I think that was missing. I think they knew that, you know.
Your region, Class 1A, Region 3. I mean, I look at this. I like this region. I mean, there's some rivalry games in here. Of course, Pickens Academy moving into the public school ranks. Linden's got a great tradition. Francis Marion, schools that are within a relatively good driving distance, R.C. Hatch. What do you think of your region and your schedule and your, you know, as I said, to win a few more games, but maybe an opportunity to contend for one of those 4 playoff spots out of your region?
Well, you know, we just came out of a really tough region that I think, you know, combined our region won 45 games last year. That's tough. I mean, that's some good teams like Lynn and South Lamar. You know, some good coaches. You know, like Michael Williams down there at Pickens County. Some of these guys. I mean, you know, that's just an outstanding region. But this one's just as good. You know, there's a lot of talent. You know, we're just in a different area. You know, but I like our chances. Like I said, I like our maturity. I like you know. Some of the teams I do feel like we match up better with. Mm-hmm. So it's just, you know, we're looking forward to the challenge, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like you said, it's different. You change regions. But I mean, being honest, I think you're right. I think this region sets up on paper as a little easier region than the one that you were in and gives you an opportunity to be more competitive. I do like the fact that you open up against Verbena, but the second game of the season, playing Holt, which is a bigger school, obviously a Class 4A school, but they're kind of trying to revitalize their program, and to have 2 schools here in Tuscaloosa play each other that are in different regions and different classifications, I think that's pretty cool. How did that game come about?
Well, you know, Brian got that job over there a couple of years ago, and we, you know, I kind of knew him. We'd both been around football in Tuscaloosa for a long time, so we, you know, started talking, and we got him over there for spring game and got him over there for some 7-on-7s, and, you know, really just kind of helped facilitate him, you know, getting that thing started that summer, giving him somebody to go up against, you know, and it's you know, I hate to say it's you know, you don't want to say anything friendly in football, you know, you get kind of shunned for that, but I mean, you know, it's just a good game for both of us to play. I think it'll be competitive. Obviously, they're a much larger school. But, you know, I believe it'd be a good game for both of us. So, you know, that's how it came about. We just kind of struck up a friendship and, you know, saw the opportunity in the non-region schedule to play each other. So it's going to be a good deal. I look forward to seeing him. You know, we text every now and then, and you know, he's a great guy. So yeah, well,
I love it. I love games like that when you're non-region game playing somebody that people are interested in seeing that game. And I think that the fans, both schools, will enjoy it. Your opener on Friday night, you're hosting Verbena. I know that last year they had a tough season, but throughout history, they've had some really good football teams. Is this opener one you think you can win at home?
I believe so. They're, obviously they're going to come in and want to get their first win just like we are. I think they've won something like 75 games since 2000. So, it's, we look at it as an opportunity to show people what we got and show people how hard we've worked. And we have worked. We're not a huge team. We don't have 50 players on the team, but I have a core group of 15 or 20 guys that are, sophomores through seniors that have really worked their tails off. And that's something that, I look forward to seeing the fruits that labor, on Friday night. And not only that, it's not just changing physically. They're becoming men. They're taking responsibility for their actions. They're seeing, that what they put into something it means a lot more than just showing up and going through the motions.
How many players do you have on your roster? What's your roster size going into this season?
We have 30 guys on our football team.
How many seniors?
4.
Okay, so you're still a young football team. You're still
right.
Yeah. Okay, so 4 seniors is not a lot. But like you said, coming back, you've had some of these. I guess some of these underclassmen still have played quite a bit of football for you. Going forward, now 30 in Class 1A, 30 is not a horrible number. I know people are listening. They say 30. Yeah, if you're Class 5A, 6A, 7A, that'd be a problem. But 30 is a workable number for you. Going forward, though, would you ultimately like to get your numbers up? Maybe at some point, maybe have around 40 on the roster. Is that a goal, or are you saying to yourself, if we can just have 30 every year, we're okay? What in terms of the future, in terms of your roster, what would you like to do?
In a 1A school, if you get 50 guys on your roster, then you just about got every boy in the school.
That's right. Yeah.
But if I get 40 or 45, that's great. But I really talk to my guys. They're not blind. They see, hey, we got 30 guys on the team. That's not a lot of guys. But you have to explain to them, like, this is 1A football. I'm not looking for 40 or 45 guys.
That's right.
Half of be pretender. I want 15 real ones. I want 20 real ones, and I got some. I got some guys that can play that I feel like can play a lot of places besides Holy Spirit. But we're God ordained there, and it's an opportunity for me to be a part of their lives. So they know, those seniors know. This is their moment. This is what they were created for. And so we're not really concerned with the numbers. We're concerned with the quality that we get and the effort that we get out of the guys that we got. We got 8 starters returning both ways. We play both ways.
Right.
So, I feel comfortable. It's a family. That's one thing my seniors will tell you, right now, if you ask them, I said, man, there's just a closeness here that I have never felt before. And that's exciting. That's exciting when you can get that out there on that football field.
Well stated. Coach Bobby Snyder with us from Holy Spirit Catholic. You already said it, a lot of guys going both ways at the 1A level. I know you care about all your players and you're counting on all of them to contribute, but give us a few guys that, will be leaders for you, and also guys from a football standpoint that you're counting on to have big years for you, to have a chance to make the Class 1A playoffs. Who are some of your key guys?
Well, we got, Alex Tant and Kobe Stevens back in the secondary and in the offensive backfield. Both of them had over 70 tackles.
Wow.
You got John Anthony Armour, linebacker and running back, had a decent year last year. Nigel C. in that backfield. You had some young guys that are moving up. We have 2 or 3 starters returning. Luke Ramos on the offensive line was, outstanding lineman for us last year. Griffin Gordy at center. Those guys played a lot of football last year. And then you have some younger guys emerging like Rocco Chicatello, and Ben Morris. And we have young guys like Rafael Pinedo. Those linemen, they're young and they've worked their butt off. You've had some guys like, my son Giles moved in and he's going to contribute. He's contributing in a hole that, he's filling a need that we needed. Somebody else, in the backfield and at linebacker. So, we've got guys that are contributing and the pieces are coming together.
Well, Coach, it all starts on Friday night, hosting Verbena, and then you've got Holt at home. So back-to-back home games to start the season before you get into region play. So I know Friday night, the folks that are listening out there love high school football, especially the Holy Spirit. I know you'd like to have a big crowd to get the season started, and that's always fun for those kids when they run out there and they got a lot of home people cheering them on, right?
Absolutely. I think they're looking forward to it. They're ready to get out there and like I said, show how hard they've worked.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time, man. Good luck this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gary. You have a good day.
All right, Bobby Snyder, head coach of the Holy Spirit Saints. And as I said, we like to spotlight all our high school teams here, and I'm really excited because 1A school, like he said, a God-ordained school, the only Catholic high school in the city, and it's so great that they're playing football again. I just think it's important. That's a beautiful little field they have over there. Just right off McFarland and, right close to where we're sitting here on Skyland. So Friday night, if you're inclined and your team isn't playing, or if they played Thursday night, or if you just want to get out on a beautiful Friday evening, the weather's supposed to be great, check out the Holy Spirit Saints. All right, 10:43 here on the Gary Harris Show. Something else that you want to check out, I guarantee you, is lunch at Innisfree. That meat and three, that Lucky Lunch special is. I've been telling Chase we got to get him over there sometime. You gotta experience it, man. It is outstanding trip. The owner and Nick Sneed, the manager, man, they all do a great job over there. And we know at night what Innisfree is all about, man. People love hanging out there. But this Lucky Lunch meat and three, I've had a lot of people tell me, Gary, thanks for turning me on to the Lucky Lunch meat and three at Innisfree. You get exactly what you said. You get a meat and three, and the choices are unbelievable. A lot of different meats, plus they have a couple specials each week, tons of vegetables, and you can get a side salad for one of your sides, and you can also get dessert. The cobbler can be one of your sides, and they got the best onion rings in town. That's the meat and three Lucky Lunch special daily, Monday through Friday at Innisfree Irish Pub, downtown, or really between downtown and campus there on University Boulevard. All right, we'll be back. One final segment. We're wide open for phone calls in the next segment, so give us a call on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline. 205-342-9904 is the number. We'll be back after this.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of The Game, Aaron Torres. We'll talk with him. We're going to recap another Alabama practice. We'll have offense front and center starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept. Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Available for after
his clients. Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A good supply of sunshine today with a high in the upper 80s, around 88. Tonight, fair with a low at 68. Tomorrow, partially sunny, a small chance of a shower, the high 89. And Friday, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, it's 10:47, 13 minutes in front of the hour of 11 o'clock. The Wednesday edition of the Gary Harris Show rolls on, and we're going to jump out on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline, and Tom is on the line. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, Gary. What's going on this morning, man? How are you?
Just doing a little talking on the radio, man. Kind of my...
I've been listening.
Yeah, good. Did you get...
I thought you said something very interesting about NASCAR with Matt, about Kurt Busch and him not like, is it Kurt or Kyle?
Kyle. Yeah, Kurt's his older brother,
okay,
Kurt.
I've got to mix
Kyle, yeah.
I thought that was interesting you brought that up, that he and after you said that, I was thinking about some of his body language throughout the season and everything, and you're spot on with that, I do believe.
I think so. It just, he and Richard Childress had a little history anyway. And, but he needed a ride. And, that's a good team, but it just doesn't, the vibe there is just not positive at all. It just doesn't.
It really is.
Feel
It's
right.
not like him, not to be more competitive than what he's been.
Oh, I guarantee you, following Kyle Busch's career.
And that's champing him too.
Yeah, he's just sick. He's sick with the way they've run this year. I mean, when you're bragging about the finish they had at Michigan, which wasn't bad, but that's a highlight just to be in contention late. You've had a disappointing season because that guy expects to win races, and not just one or two, but several.
Yeah, and but I wanted to bring that up. What class you think Pete Carroll's going to be teaching at SD?
I have no idea. He didn't say. He'll be one of those adjunct, roles. So they'll probably come up with a class to suit whatever he wants to teach. My guess would be it'd probably be something to do with just life skills or being successful, and because of his enthusiasm, some type of human performance or life skills type class. That would be my guess, Tom. Something where, there's not really too much of an agenda or curriculum. It's just him coming in there and sharing stuff with students. That'd be my guess anyway.
That may be accurate. I don't know why, but I thought history.
Well, it might
when
be
you
history.
said it,
Again, one of the things
he strikes me as being somebody that would, be a fan of history of some sort.
He does me too. One of the things you got to remember, though, I don't know what his, degree is in. And for you, there's a big difference between being, a guest lecturer or adjunct professor or something where, because as you start talking about teaching actual classes, like history classes, you got to have all kinds of credentials. You know what I'm saying? So
you're exactly right. I didn't think about that.
So that's part of it too. So
yeah,
but,
I thought.
But I just think it's interesting that he wants to come back and do that. I think that, as I said earlier,
now,
Tom,
I can see that. I see that all day long out of him. And I tell you, I think Coach Saban has a streak of that in him as well.
He does. He's a teacher. I would say first and foremost, that's what he is. I would say he's a teacher first, and then the coaching comes from his ability to teach. As most coaches are teachers, but I think Nick Saban takes it to the next level. As I said before, you were probably listening, when he's on TV, one of his best attributes is that he can talk about the game in technical terms where you can understand it as a layman. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the mark of any teacher or anybody like that. The quality, high IQ teachers have a way of teaching something where the simplest of minds like me would be able to understand it. And that's the mark of a great instructor, a great teacher. But you're right. The thing about people like Pete and Coach Saban is they feel an obligation for you to be more informed when they get done talking to you than, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they got that going on their side too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I think that they are tied in together because they're the same age. They both coached in the NFL.
Yeah.
They both won national championships, yet they're so different. And because of Alabama's connection with Kiffin and Sark and Pete Carroll's connection with Kiffin and Sark, Saban has that connection. And they both, Kiffin and Sark, talk about how different they are. Totally different styles, completely different personalities, completely different ways of approaching a football season. But yet they both do it in their own way. They're both true to themselves, and they're both highly successful. Yet personality-wise,
Correct.
I think they're polar opposites. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I believe that. But I tell you what, don't you believe, now this is pure speculation, but don't you believe that phone call went to Pete before he hired either one of them?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure Coach Saban did his due diligence.
Or maybe the other way around. He may have picked it up and said, hey, these guys need a break. You know what I mean? And they're good coaches.
I have no doubt that
I believe they could talk. I believe they could communicate between the two of them. I believe that close, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And I think, like I said, for coaches that have accomplished as much as they have, there's always that mutual respect between them. And I think my guess is that Saban and Carroll are probably pretty friendly with each other. I don't get the feeling that they're, close friends or anything like that, but I guarantee you they have a good relationship would be my guess.
Well, on the broadcast of one of the national championship games, Coach Carroll was one of the guest analysts in the group, and not on the broadcast. Well, not on the the actual game broadcast, but pregame and halftime and so forth. And he referred to Coach Saban as Nick, and I thought, there's a relationship there. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done that.
Who referred to him as Nick?
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That shows you right there that they're friends, and because
that's exactly what I said too. Or he would have referred to him differently, but you could tell the way he said it that they wasn't strangers to each other.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, as I said, the same age, both long coaching careers in the NFL and in college football. Yeah, I'm sure they're
somewhat paralleled when you look at their careers.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Like I said, I don't think they hang out together or anything like that, but I do think that they're friendly for sure. Tom. All right, did you get in touch with Mike about the?
You know what, Gary? I popped off too quick. I got to looking at the information. I'm conflicted. I thought it was a different day than Monday.
Okay.
But that Monday, I'm conflicted. I apologize for putting you through that.
I let him know you were going to be getting in touch with him. But anybody else out there?
Thank you for shooting that to me right quick.
Sure,
I do appreciate it.
All right,
and I appreciate Mike offering.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm going to plug him one more time. Have a great day, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, it is 10:55. We're winding it down again. One of our great listeners, Mike, has some tickets available. He has a tire table for that University of Church of Christ Pigskin Kickoff coming up on Monday at the University Church of Christ, and it is featuring John Hanna, who's a college and pro football Hall of Famer. Also, Cedric Burns will be there, and Coach Nate Oates, Alabama men's basketball coach, will be interviewed by Ryan Fowler. Doors open at 5:15. Program begins at 6 o'clock. Silent auction benefiting Tuscaloosa Angels. This is going to be a great event, and Mike has a table, and he has some spots available at the table. His phone number, this is one of our great listeners, Mike from Opelika, 205-516-3861. That's 205-516-3861. This event, too, is not cheap. So the fact that he's just willing to give those tickets away to make sure those seats are filled, that's pretty cool. So if you want to go and listen to John Hanna, who doesn't do a lot of these events, I'll be honest with you. A guy that Paul Zimmerman from Sports Illustrated called the greatest offensive lineman ever is going to be the speaker there. Again, Mike's number 205-516-3861 if you want to go to the University Church of Christ Pigskin Preview on Monday evening. All right, that's going to do it for the show, and we appreciate you tuning in. A reminder to catch me on sports on TV tonight with your local sports on WVUA 23. Then back here tomorrow, the coach, Ellis Johnson, is going to join us for his weekly segment, as well as Jeff Spiegel from ABC 3340. And we'll continue our high school football previews as well. All that coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. For Chase Brumfeld, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for listening. T-Town Sports Daily is coming up next at 11 a.m. Have a great day, everybody.
you for listening